Hey friends! Welcome to Spirit Club, a podcast and community that is all about doing the inner work to live an aligned and, dare I say, happy life. I'm your host, spiritual guide and intuitive, Angell Kelly, and I'm here to share my teachings along with messages passed on to me from higher consciousness. I've also got incredible guests in store to help you go down all those spiritual rabbit holes. So let's go! Welcome to the club! Hello, Spirit Club, and thanks for joining for another episode live in my living room. And today we have Germaine Cookson, who is a mindset magician, a speaker, an author, and also, very importantly, and what we're going to talk about today, a certified TRE provider. Now, I know you're wondering what that is. Don't worry, we'll get into the acronym. But I met Germaine doing one of her live TRE sessions back in, I want to say that was November.
November, yeah.
And it was so powerful that I knew I had to have her on. So, welcome, Germaine.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming to my living room. You guys missed it earlier, but my dog was just all up in her grill. So
we love the dogs.
She's welcomed by Teddy. So Germaine, I like to start with just some icebreaker questions.
Sure.
Some fun stuff to get to know you.
Let's do it.
So we'll start with your sun, moon, and rising, which, spoiler alert, we looked this up right before, so it's fresh.
I'm glad we did.
Rising.
So we've got Pisces with Scorpio and Sagittarius.
Yeah. So Pisces sun, Scorpio moon, Sagittarius rising.
Yeah.
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 And we were just talking about how Germaine, she travels a lot and has always been kind of a world traveler. So that Sagittarius rising is just really coming through. And then, I don't know, you're probably most familiar with the Pisces flavor. What do you identify with most?
Oh, definitely a dreamer, and always have been. I think I've always been a free spirit, believed in magic. That's the only way I can describe it since I was a little girl. You know, my dad said some years ago, you've always had a head full of dreams and a heart full of love, and you've always been the same since you were a little girl.
That's so sweet.
And I think that Pisces really is the true essence of who I am. The Scorpio, because it's again water, so again, very dreamy, very sensitive, very sort of just, it works in both of those ways. But I always remember somebody once saying to me that Scorpio can often have a little bit of a harshness, bit of sarcasm there. Love the sarcasm because that's England, which North American people don't always get. Love you all. And I miss that sometimes. I miss that whole banter. You know, sometimes people are like, is she serious? But I also remember somebody when I was working some years ago had said, the interesting thing is the Scorpio is what you initially take as being like, ooh, but when you get to know that heart, they really do see the true essence. So it does play a part. And then the Sagittarius, which I thought was Aries, but both fire, is the bit that makes me go, okay, what do you want to do? Let's go. So I definitely do. Yeah, I definitely sort of dance with all of them for sure.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. And I wanted to say, when you said I've always believed in magic, I think there's like I can feel there's a shift, and I'm going to make this prediction here and now that I actually think we're all going to start seeing behind the veil. We're all going to start seeing what we have always referred to as magic, but it's going to like start to show up. And I'm really excited about it.
Me too.
Sure you are, because I've always believed.
Oh, got little truth bumps, angels. Yeah, because I think as a kid, when we talk about magic, whether I was 5, 15, 25, and now 50, I think sometimes people can look down on us almost, if I say that with love and respect, because they think we are that little light, you believe in magic, and they always associate magic as pulling rabbits out of hats, you know, card tricks, and that's not the magic I've always identified. You know,
I don't think about that either.
Yeah, when I think of magic, for me, it's that belief of what's coming next, like what's happening. You know, it is that sort of unknown, but that there's always magic coming through it, wherever our path's taken us. And to be fair, that's what's gotten me through lots of different walks in life to bring me here today. Because without that belief of magic, of trusting that, I don't know why this is happening, but it's going to be okay, which I'm sure some of your listeners can resonate with. I'm blessed to have that mindset, because we all go through our good and bad days, Angel. But if we have that constant think it's going to be okay, because there's magic somewhere coming.
That's a really beautiful message.
Yeah, and I
love it.
I have locked into that since I was a kid. So I don't know who gave it me while I was put on this earth to share that, but that is really the true essence of who I am. Can dance around and believe in dreams and, be driven by my heart, but it's that magic that carries me.
Yeah. How supportive. I love it.
Thank you.
Okay. Next question, and you may or may not have one, but do you have a morning routine? And if so, what is it?
Again, that Sagittarius of fire. I go through times where I do certainly have more structure of a morning routine, but typically for me right now, I get up in the morning, I feed 2 dogs. That's my routine. It's all about them. But then I'll often take time, depending on what my day looks like, to set some intentions. Maybe sometimes I'll do a little prayer or a little thought. Sometimes I'll just feed the dogs, go grab a coffee and go for a walk. I don't think we have to sit to meditate. Me being out in nature sometimes, well, I shouldn't say sometimes, always brings me clarity. So that, generally speaking, is a morning routine of mine. But yeah, I don't know what they say, but in a split second, if there's something else that can take me off somewhere else, I'm there. I'm ready.
Right. Yeah.
Always ready to be ready to be ready. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And you know what? That's one thing that's great about dogs is that walk.
Yeah.
I used to kind of like resent the walk.
Yeah.
I don't have time for this walk.
Yeah.
But now I really I look forward to the walk. The walk is equally for me as it is for him.
100%. Yeah, I get some of my biggest moments of clarity and will share messages with my followers and things because I'm on the park and you're in nature.
Yeah.
You have that ability to just stop and rest and have that beauty around you. Step into the present moment. You're not thinking about anything because your focus is the dog, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, something's coming to me. So yeah.
Divine walks.
Absolutely.
All right. Third question is, so this podcast is all about spiritual development, personal development. So if there are any teachers or mentors or authors that have impacted you, we would love to hear about them.
Abraham Hicks, for sure, was one of the first ones. Wayne Dyer was a big following for me. Peter Crone is an English guy that used to coach Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, lives in LA.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Really love his essence.
Actually, yeah, now that you're saying, I'm like, his energy and your energy, I can see those being a match.
And I have a friend in England that said, like, you're a female version of Peter Crone. Like, hey, I'll take that because I aspire him as being a mind architect. But just in that language, in how we think things, and yeah, I mean, who else have I read? And there's so many, I think we're blessed. I can only look back sort of 10, 15 years ago when I was paying a lot of money to get on planes and go and take life mastery courses and leadership courses. And now at the touch of a button, I mean, you can just put in how you're feeling in the morning and you've got 1,000 different audios, podcasts, videos to just help you get through that little bump, bit of inspiration, bit of motivation. So, but they are the 3 people that come. Oh, and Lewis Howes. How can I forget? He's my muse.
Mother of all.
Bring me a Lewis Howes. If you know Lewis Howes and you have a Lewis Howes, bring me. Yeah, he had a life-changing moment for me a few years ago when he talked about a relationship that he entered into and just 3 steps of things he followed, which we won't go into today. But if we have time at the end, maybe we can. But yeah, very, very, just very well connected. And I appreciate the work he's done and that he continues to do. As a male figure in the world, it's really nice to know that there are people out there that take this as serious as what we do.
I know. It's so female dominated.
Yeah.
That when you hear a masculine voice in the space, it's really refreshing.
Yeah.
And hopefully normalizing for the rest of the men who want to engage in the work. But
I know that it's okay. I know we women have that big emotional, normal, natural DNA, however you want to say it. It's something I think that's easily more innate within us. But I think that's just the way society has played itself out. And anything to be able to encourage guys to know that, yeah, get a pedicure with yourself, with your wife, with your girlfriend, with your next door neighbor. It doesn't matter. Go and get a facial, go and have a nice head massage, do whatever, read a book, go and listen to the podcast, the same as what we do. And yes, there is a lot of stuff out there for guys. We're not leaving them alone, but I think it's important to just link arms with them and know that this is a safe space for everyone. This isn't something that we need to just think is for us in a certain way.
Oh yeah, I have theories about this, but it'll eat up too much time.
Okay.
So now we'll do magic.
Okay.
We love doing magic.
Okay.
And so my question for you is, and you might need a minute, what is something that you'd like to let go of, release right now?
What do I need to let go of? Gosh. Yeah, other than what we were talking about earlier about that, desire for wanting more, being multifaceted, I think sometimes I can hold, a feeling, a thought, or an emotion, and sometimes making that wrong.
A judgment about it.
Yeah, and judging myself on it, which, we practice with others and clients, and we should absolutely be taking that on ourselves. And we do in many ways, but we're always learning. I mean, I said the other day in an article, the best coaches are the ones that are still doing the work.
Oh.
We talk the talk, we walk the walk.
Must.
You don't get to be a life coach in 3 days. So yeah, for me, I really want to let go of that judgment. Yeah, let's just throw that out to the angels, let it go, bring all the magic in that we can, and just know that it's okay to feel sometimes. Just let the path unveil itself.
Perfect. Okay. And then finally, what would you like to call in right now?
Well, there's big change coming in April. I set that intention this morning, and I think you've just, you've just validated that, if we use that word. So I'm calling in change, whatever that looks like. Maybe there's somebody watching this, listening this, that's like, hey,
I know what it looks like.
Yeah, there's an opportunity. Come here, go there. I mean, I've moved countries once. I'd do it again.
I mean, look at you, you're double water and fire. Change.
I have a dad in England, a sister in Australia, and I'm here. So between the Commonwealth, we're kind of, we got it going on. But yeah, and I welcome that. I have a resilience around change. I'm very lucky that I got on a plane and created a beautiful life here. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Moved cities. I lived in Vancouver, came back to Calgary. I think without change, there is no change. And to step into that and embrace that, we have to be the epitome of what that holds.
Without change, there is no change. Well put. And as someone who's got a lot of earth, it ain't so easy. Like, I'm super intentional. I gotta take my time to make change. I make change, but it's like, you're probably like, and I'm changed.
Because I don't have earth. I've got no earth in my 12 houses.
Sagittarius.
Yeah.
That girl moves. All the
Speed
time.
of light.
And every time I stopped reacting to it, because at first I was like, oh my gosh, how are you doing? How's that feel to be so unsettled? And then I realized that's my experience.
Yeah.
Not hers. She's fine.
But I think, my coach, who's a dear friend of mine now, but one of the things she would always say to me is, you take you with you.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah.
So as an earth being, look at what you've created, and when you take that next move, wherever it's going to lead you, you take you with you. So I think if we hold on to that and look at the goodness we've all got within our hearts and souls, we all have goodness. Let the bad little bits fall away for a second, but hold on to really what you've created, and we take that with you. You'll create just a beautiful life again.
You're right, totally. Thank you. Okay. Beautiful get to know you. Now let's jump into the juice.
Deep dive.
First question, because I'm sure everyone's wondering. What is TRE? Also, what does it stand for? I don't even know.
So TRE, when it first was created by Dr. David Baselli. It was created in the 90s. It stood for trauma releasing exercises, because it's a neurogenic tremor, which means involuntary, and it was to really help release trauma patterns within the body. Now, as things evolve, as they always do, I believe, we have this word trauma that you talk about, and people can get very scared, if that's the right word, of like, oh, well, what does that mean? So it became trauma and tension releasing exercises, or tension and trauma releasing exercises. So the T kind of split.
Tension and trauma.
Yeah. But that's really what it is. The initial template, and I was trained through the TRE Canadian Association, the template was that we would do 7 exercises before actually laying on the floor and evoking that tremor, be it a shake, be it a pulse, be it a vibration. There's different ways it comes through the body. So that was kind of the exercise template. Again, things always evolve, and it's now known that we actually don't need to do all the exercises, but it is still called TRE, tension and trauma releasing exercises, and we get to play with our own bodies in how we evoke that tremor.
So literally, just so you all understand, and I want to share my story.
Yeah, please. I'd love to hear that.
Maybe because for the listeners. So when I went to Germaine's class, I didn't know much about it. My mother-in-law introduced me to it. Shout out to Karen. And she had shown me some YouTubes. So I went, and we did some like strength-ish kind of
couple of little exercises.
Yeah. And then, skipping to the good part, you lie down and your body literally, like Germaine said, starts to involuntarily tremor or shake. I know you're not believing me. You're sitting there going like, involuntarily? No, you're shaking. No, your body literally starts to shake. I was shook. I was lying there.
Shook.
It's like, what? Oh my gosh. And a shake that I've never experienced before. At first it was like really loud. It was my legs kind of bouncing, and then it got like deeper but softer, but something I'd never experienced. So, you lie there, and we probably did 20 minutes of tremor?
Yeah, on and off, because we like to take a break in between.
Yeah.
But and we don't push, really that hard, especially when it's the first time.
Right.
We want to, bring the body into that very gently, and let the body do what it needs to do, because you don't need to tremor like the person next to you, nor will you maybe never tremor like the person next to you. There is no comparison, but it is true what you said. It's the body that leads, and that's why I connected with it, I think, and that's why I love it, because we're all trying to get out of our heads. So we're not telling ourselves what to do. I'm merely a vehicle. I'm guiding you through this process. And once your body connects with what I call that sweet spot, that's when the magic happens.
Literally. It was like afterwards, I'll share some of the things that I went through. So while I was tremoring, at first it was body, and then I started to process things emotionally, which was, I processed grief. I was crying. I processed like some of the stress that I'd been living in my life. And at the end, when we all set up and we had a little discussion, I realized that I felt so rested. I felt more rested than if I were to get a 10-hour sleep from 20 minutes of tremoring. And at that point in my life, I hadn't slept in years.
No.
So getting 20 minutes of tremoring, I was like, oh my gosh, amazing. So
because it is down regulating the nervous system. I mean, people are thinking, what is it? What does it actually do? And that is what TRE does. It down regulates the nervous system. I mean, I have my little stress barometer here, which is what we use in the class for you to identify. And it's merely just a gauge to look at it, to see which color you are. Where are you at? Because it can change. Can change every day, it can change every hour. Our lives are changing all the time, depending on whatever external circumstances are showing up. But it's a way of knowing, okay, well, this is where I'm at the beginning of the session. And by simply allowing that body to evoke that tremor, I've not had anybody, touch wood to date, that's done a class, a personal session, that hasn't at the end gone, wow, I am more grounded.
Right.
And you might say, well, what's grounded? Life is busy. We're all running around, often like headless chickens. We wish we weren't, but we live in a very instant, fast-paced lifestyle. We want everything, now. So I think even sometimes for me, again, I can only use my personal stories, wanting to really access that art of meditation. I'm fire, I'm air, I'm water, I'm a personality, A type. So I'm I'm a go-getter. So to just be able to sit and close my eyes and breathe, I can do it now. But sometimes I would find that challenging to stop, because again, I was having to tell myself, quiet the mind, calm the mind, deep breaths. I'm still in my head. When I began to start to tremor, and I didn't really know all of this at the time. I mean, it's been coming up now for 4 years since I've been tremoring. But I would shake, and at the end of it, then think, now I feel relaxed. Now I could actually lie there with the lights out with a blanket. Now I could go into a meditation, because I now understand where my nervous system was. It was up here, and TRE brings your nervous system to here.
Okay.
And that in all walks of life, whether you're a mum, whether you're a single dog owner, whether you're in a relationship, whether you're in a high-powered job, I think nervous system regulation is becoming more talked about.
Yes.
People may still not really understand or connect with what that means, but it's when you are feeling off, just out of sorts, overactivated, overwhelmed, anxious, whatever it might be, I think that all falls into the bracket of having a dysregulated nervous system. By doing TRE, breath work, lots of different things, we bring that nervous system down. Then we get a regulated nervous system. When we have a regulated nervous system, we make better decisions. We sleep better.
Good.
And it's not a one-time, you don't just do one class and everything's good. It's a muscle memory. So it's like going to the gym. It's like eating a healthy diet. It's something that you do, and it opens up the entire body.
Yeah. I teach meditation, and I had not thought about this until today. So thank you for bringing this up about how
You're welcome. Excuse me.
you can see how it's really challenging, more challenging for some than
Yes.
others.
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking, okay, maybe we need to be working with the body
Yeah.
first for those folks. Do you want to share the sort of stages that
Of course. Yeah.
nervous system?
Yeah, this is a stress barometer. If the camera can pick that up. It's just got 4 colors. So, in the nervous system, we go from a parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest that some people know of it, homeostasis. It's here. It's the equilibrium. We're all in our little happy place. And that's here at the bottom. That's the green. So we're comfortable. We're feeling very safe. As the nervous system gets activated, we go into sympathetic nervous system. And there is a part of that that's normal. And there's also a part of it that we need. So please don't go negating if you start to feel adrenaline and think, oh my gosh, I'm wrong. You're not. That's the drive behind us. We need to go into sympathetic nervous system to a certain degree to push. But if we get too high into it, we're sort of getting an alarm bell maybe to slow down a little bit. We can use it to drive us as long as we can come back. So as long as we're going up and down like this, it's healthy. So we go from green into orange, which is a little fatigue, anger, sadness, if those words are sort of coming to mind. Then we continue into that sympathetic nervous system, where we're then going into what we call danger. We're going into that stop. We're starting to access that fight and flight. And this could be panic. This could be pain. This could be exhaustion. So again, if you identify with any of these words, just be aware. Again, if you're going up and coming down, it's okay. It's when people are waking up in a state of panic, walking around in a state of fear, you might not even be aware. You are activated. You are a little bit dysregulated, and you've practiced it. We're habits. However many years you are, we're habits. So from there, we then go into what we call a shutdown, which is a bit of a freeze. It's a standstill. You can go into feeling depressed, helpless, blocked, stuck. And this is almost where the emotions just get cut off.
Right.
But we're kind of high up the parasympathetic nervous system. So just by quickly, we go from 1 to 10, we go from green to blue. And it's a really easy tool for me to hand this out at the beginning of a class, or if you're working one-on-one or in a partner, for people to just not overthink it, because we always need to intend not to do those things, but just to take a quick look and think like, maybe I'm feeling a bit of pain and rage right now. You put it down. You do the tremor and you pick it up and think, wow, I don't have that pain anymore. I'm kind of grounded. I've got a bit of tension. You just know that you're coming down. So this for me is something I got from my TRE certification. And I've never done a class without it.
And so for you, as someone who's been both teaching, performing, and practicing TRE for how many years?
4 years.
For 4 years. Do you find a difference in your like the level that you show up with every day after having this as such a regular practice in your life?
I mean, I think for us as well, the importance is we all have a story. And we don't have to have the same story. We don't have to share the same practice. We have to accept that whatever is coming to us in our path is meant for us. So I personally didn't have any what I'm going to call deep trauma that I needed to release. But what it did for me was 2 things. It helped me identify, because I'd been in unfortunately, a toxic relationship, if I can call it that, with love and respect with someone that was living in a more traumatic, dysregulated place. And learning about TRE and how the body, I guess, deals with how we hold tension and trauma within the body, it allowed me to have compassion. So that was a really key moment for me. Having compassion also then allowed me to let go of some of that resentment maybe that I was holding. And through my regular practice of TRE, I at the time, at the beginning, was actually in a freeze in my body. Now, David Baselli, who is the founder of TRE, I was blessed to do 2 online workshops with him that I got a one-on-one. And he'd said, because I danced for 25 years, I'd been walking around like this, a very composed being. And I think somewhat a lot of us are in a freeze. We live in our heads. We've not been raised to go, how do you feel? What are you feeling? What are you noticing? These are things we ask in TRE, because we're all about, what are you thinking right now? So we instantly go to our brains. So for me, practicing TRE on a regular basis has allowed me to become more embodied in my feelings, in taking a pause, in just being if I need to be, and knowing that that's okay, and allowing any feelings to come up. I personally haven't had any big emotional things to let go of. I'm also very blessed. I was raised with a mum who passed away many years ago that always allowed me to cry, always allowed me to release emotions, and helped to teach me resilience. So there's things I learned through my TRE training that if that was part of your upbringing, you've always been moving through things. And I think if you've done things like breathwork, EFT, meditation, you've been releasing certain things. For some people that haven't been as fortunate to learn tools or have tools in how to release, they're just holding them here. Sometimes they're holding them here. So that instant little bit of a release can make you cry, it can make you laugh, sometimes it can make you angry, it can make your body just feel great. There's no one set rule for all, but ultimately it is allowing your body to release something.
Right.
And if that's all you need to know, you don't need a story going into TRE, which is another thing I think is beautiful. It's not a therapy session. Things can come up, and yes, through all the work I've done, human behavior mindset, there is a certain aspect of coaching that does pull through if I'm in a one-on-one session, but you certainly don't need to walk in going, she's going to ask me questions.
Right.
As you shared, you got a bit emotional. I've seen it 100 times.
Yeah.
Are you okay? What are you noticing? I'm getting emotion. Okay, well, let that come and let that go. Just to give permission to allow that is often all somebody needs. I did a session with a couple of friends last night. One of them was just laughing, big laughter. It's brilliant.
See that.
It's brilliant because they were just allowing themselves to be and let come through what needs to come through. We walk around holding on so tight, and TRE just lets you let go. And it's helped me to let go of lots of things from an emotional aspect.
Yeah, and I love what you said about like you don't have to have a story, because
Mm-mm.
although the emotions that came up, it was really clear to me the story they were attached to, but I have a sense of the power of being able to clear things just through
Mm.
the body,
Mm-hmm.
and how that can be really, really, really valuable, especially for folks who don't want to get into the story. You know, maybe that was the partner that you were dealing with at the time, and yeah.
And there is just the thing with TRE as well. In one of the books I read, Shake It Off by David Wasselli, it talked about, we have talk therapy, which is great. I always believe, and my mum said to me, a problem shared is a problem halved. As we can process our emotions, it's a gift to be able to do that. Not everybody wants to, not everybody's able to.
Mm-hmm.
Often because people don't feel safe enough to do. That was something I learned through my work in TRE. So if you're not willing, ready, or able, or want to go and do talk therapy, perhaps an alternative is to go on medication. Again, for some people out there, that might work for you. It's not something I personally align with, nor at the time was it something my partner aligned with. So if they're the only two options out there, talk therapy or medication, and you don't align with either one of them, then you're stuck. You're in a holding pattern, especially if you are cycling through dysregulation and trauma on a regular basis, which respectfully he was. You don't have any tools to deal with anything because you've not been shown them, you've not been taught them, given them. And where, to me, I always said TRE bridges the gap, it's that in between. Because I was taught, a lady did an addictions workshop with us all through our training and said, TRE doesn't heal an addiction. We're not putting that out there to the world. But a lot of people, if we are turning to substance abuse or addictive behaviours, it's a coping mechanism. It's nothing else. And it's not really about whatever it is you're using to mask the problem. It's what lies beneath and what the problem is. And if you don't feel safe, you're probably not ever going to be able to heal what's causing that. So what she used to speak about in doing an addictions workshop is she would go into this addictions counselling place on a weekly basis. And by doing constant sessions of TRE, people's bodies would start to downregulate their nervous systems. And when they downregulate, at the end, they might say, how are you feeling? What are you noticing? And just like you experienced, Angel, in your session, thankfully, you've worked on yourself, so you have that mindset to be able to evaluate that on a personal basis. But if you haven't, someone to say, what are you noticing? And someone's like, wow, I just went back to a memory when I was a kid or as an adult. You start to see things that maybe now you are able to feel safe to talk about.
Yeah, right.
Whereas you come in here, don't want to talk, don't want to medicate, so I'm just going to keep going around in this little hamster wheel. When we start to bring that nervous system down and start to allow people to feel safe, give people permission and a tool to feel safe, and let the body guide them. It's not something that head's driving. You've got to do this, you've got to say that, you've got to think this. You just lie on the floor, find your sweet spot. It really is so simple, and it is something that you practice, and it does evolve. Your practice does. I mean, my personal practice has evolved huge, but it's that safety aspect of bringing that nervous system down that just opens up the beauty of what life has to offer to people. And it makes me sad, for my ex, and I can have compassion for him and I wish him all the best, but just, he's one of many people out there, women, girls, who are just struggling day to day and don't know how to break through that cycle.
You're really making me see the huge value of safety.
Yeah.
It's like, I never quite put my finger on it, but as you're talking, I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, safety gives you so much.
And it's just coming to me now. You talk about channeling, but safety gives you strength.
Mm. Safety, I mean,
Safety gives you the strength to move forward.
right?
If we don't feel safe, we're not willing to take those risks. Oh, truth bumps. If we're always feeling unsafe or in fear or in lack or in scarcity, we don't feel comfortable to be present.
Right.
When we feel safe, we can talk about anything. We can go and try anything, and it doesn't matter whether it works or not. We can be brave, we can have courage, because we feel safe within ourselves, within our souls. And I think you speak about it on your podcast. We all have a soul contract. And to connect with that soul contract, you need to embody safety.
Right, because otherwise, like coping mechanisms, trauma, distraction, all these things are in the way. Amazing. I think we just like tapped into and you know what? And so many, I've worked with a lot of people who need to find safety before they can do anything else. And there are many ways to find safety, but here we have like a tool where you don't have to like brain your way to say,
Don't think.
Yeah.
And the other thing, if I may just add about TRE, again, we live in a world, especially in North America, that you go to work, you have a corporate job, you have a full, access to benefits. So you can go into all of these tools. Or if not, you're paying high priced hourly sessions. With TRE, I think it's always important to do a group session. We'll talk about one that I have coming up at the end. And if not, do, one-on-one sessions as well to really understand what TRE offers. But the beauty of TRE, you can do it one-on-one, you can do it in a group, and you can practice it at home by yourself. So we're not saying you've got to now sign up for 12 sessions or, come and see me every week for the next year. And again, no disrespect to any practitioner that works in that style, each to their own. I have absolutely no judgment. But I do think it's important to be able to get out there into different ways to know that, again, not everyone has the financial means to be perhaps taking regular sessions every week, if they're a high price ticket. And what I loved about TRE is that you can do it one-on-one. You can go into group sessions, which is something I offer, but you can also practice it at home on your own.
Yeah.
So if we don't find ways to get things out into what I call mainstream, Angel, we're not giving people a chance to learn, to grow, to evolve, to heal, whatever word you want to, sort of connect to it. We're disconnecting.
Right. We're making it
A big
available to, privileged folks. Yeah.
And privileged need to heal, and less privileged need to heal. Everybody on the planet needs to heal. We've all fallen off bikes, had broken hearts, been left at the school the first day, and cried when our mum and dad left us, our aunt and uncles, our grandmas and granddads. We've all experienced trauma in some way.
Right.
Some on a very mild, some highly traumatic. I don't lean in to work with highly traumatic, PTSD. There are clinical practitioners that are trained in certifications with TRE, as well as other licensed practice. For me, it's more of a regulation and a day-to-day. I stay within my realm. It's very important that we all, as practitioners, do that. But I just think, you can do TRE with anyone. A child, as long as they've got an ability to say, what are you noticing? How am I feeling? Which, let's be honest, most kids can do that better than as adults because they have no filter. So I would say maybe around the 8 or 9, might be 10 or 11. Again, everybody's different. Right the way through adulthood to, people in their 70s. That there's no reason anybody needs to not learn it, be able to do it. And that for me is important because we need to make these things widely accessible for everyone and teach it in schools, teach it in classes, make it that anybody can come and do it. Because then we have these tools and then we're learning self-regulation from being a child. So when we get into these places through our adult life where we get very upset, very overwhelmed, I'm sure you've been through it, as have I, and we're still going to go through those things. We are living a human experience. But by learning TRE as well, what it helps to do is it helps to teach self-regulation.
Right.
So when we go through
tools.
when we go through a time of overwhelm, we can learn to take a pause. If we need to TRE, do TRE. Maybe we just attach with bringing that nervous system down, taking a few deep breaths. That is regulating. But people who are activated perhaps don't know how to.
Right.
So TRE is teaching self-regulation as well as it's teaching a tool for the nervous system.
Right. And then you gain a familiarity with what being regulated feels like. Because as we mentioned earlier, when you are dysregulated all the time, you don't know that. Unless you've experienced the contrast, you don't really know.
And half the people out there don't know.
Yeah.
And there's no judgment on that. We just haven't been shown. We're not taught this at school.
Sure.
You know, to be able to.
Contrast to know those things.
Without dark, there is no light. I think that was a Wayne Dyer.
Yeah. And I'll say, you know, I did this one group session, and then I go to a yoga class every Monday. Oh, I said it on my podcast last week. And often I'll go early, like 20 minutes early, and then I'll do a little TRE before the class starts. And the first time I did it, I was like, it's probably not going to work because I don't have your guidance. But it did work. My body was like, okay. And it just did it. And I was like, not embarrassed. There are like tons of people around me probably wondering what the heck she's doing. But so definitely something that you can do on your own. That being said, I love going to your classes and I would like to.
It is nice to be guided. And I was actually saying this with my friends last night. You know, we all did an initial shake together. And then I just did some sort of modifications and containment exercises with them, because I can do things which is what you don't get when you're on your own. I can hold certain parts of the body. I can help to bring that tremor into a deeper practice. And so with me last night, when I'm starting the session, I'm in my head because I'm guiding myself. When I'm able to let go and be guided, as I'm able to do in sessions, you really are able to completely let go. So even for people, you know, come and do the workshop by all means and practice it like you do. Just come and do another workshop in another 6 months, once a year, just to tap in. The reason I say that is because when I first started, it was just my legs that tremored. It's quite common. That's where the tremor comes. And after about 6 months, and I had to tremor 100 times, I had to write every tremor down for my training. But I was kind of, I just wanted to do more. I felt my body was ready for a little bit more. Now, again, we have to be careful we don't get tremor ego, that we're trying to push. I want to tremor harder. I want to tremor faster. Again, pull back, let go. But I was able to do my session with David Baselli, and I'd said to him, there's just something I feel like I need to open up. And by golly, because this was through COVID when I was learning TRE, he got pillars underneath my back. He got tennis balls underneath my shoulders because I was at home. He was online. And he opened up my body in a way that was just amazing. And I honestly, I said this in an event I was doing last week. He said at the end, how do you feel? And I said, I feel like I've been a caged bird. You've just opened up that like cage and I've just flown and spread my wings because my body was completely open. And through regular practices with TRE, with a provider, you know, we can help to bring that tremor through. And I've done workshops. I have an amazing mentor, Richmond Heath, in Australia. You can check him out online, TRE Australia. Fabulous, fabulous guy. And even just doing workshops with him and Alex Green in the US, workshops with Alex Green, they've given me extra tools to use, exercises with the face, things with the hands, the shoulders, the feet, that now I can activate a bigger tremor and deeper tremor within. So you start small with TRE, and what I think is get comfortable with the practice, just like you're doing right now. They say 10 to 11 times once you've done a tremor, it becomes a bit like you can just flip the switch on and off. So you can tremor anywhere.
Is it like, I mean, I know it's not really muscle based, but is it like muscle memory at something or another? Like nervous system memory?
To a degree, because you're kind of training your body. But what I think, for me, what comes to mind for me with my TRE practice, you're giving the body permission to let go. And again, we talk about safety. When you feel safe enough to let go, That could be a pattern in your past, in your present, something that you are very happy with. When you're willing to let go, your body will release.
Right.
So that's where the beauty, and sometimes you tremor the same, sometimes you tremor different. You know, again, there's no one rule fits all. We don't need to think, well, if I'm tremoring different, what does that mean? Is there something wrong? No, your body's just allowing things to come through. So it's just, for me, it is a permission that you start to release, she says as I shake here. And you just, you open up the body. It's like an envelope. Let things come out.
It just makes me want to like melt.
Which is what your body's doing in TRE, because it's like an ice cube, that freeze. But it is for us that are walking around in that freeze. The ice is melting.
Yeah. And you know, and I mentioned it there, and I'll mention it again, like there are many things that I do and have done for my nervous system. You know, I'm a regular meditator. I do a lot of self-care things, blah, blah, blah. But the past 2 years I was living in such like constant nervous system activation because of my on-call job. That like none of those were enough. They weren't cutting it. And you know, and we all find our thing that it
Yes,
is,
we do. Yeah.
Certainly it was so powerful, and I got so much out of one session, and I do not say that lightly about things. So
no, and I appreciate that. And you know, for some people, I guess the thing to point out as well, they don't always tremor straight away. People can lie down and, you know, I can put them into a session, and it could be a group session one-on-one. And there's people that are doing quite a big tremor. You know, they're tangibly getting something. There might be someone that's going, I'm not feeling anything. My body's not moving. Again, the body will release when it's ready, when it feels safe, and when it's meant to. So we mustn't make that wrong, which is why, again, I encourage, if someone's doing, you know, sessions, to do 4 sessions and not just one. Because to do one session, I believe, just doesn't benefit the person. You are an open person, and if you've practiced breathwork, EFT, EMDR, somatics, other things, by all means, you know, come to a workshop and you'll have it down pat. You know, you'll be able to activate your tremor mechanism. But for those people that aren't or haven't, I do think it's important that we as providers as well offer more than one session, so that we don't just bring people into a session and it's like, okay, well, thank you, off you go.
It doesn't work for you.
Yeah, we have to be careful, and I think we have to tread, you know, just with caution, that we really are just being kind in what we're doing, and allowing somebody's body to really work through some perhaps patterns that it has. And just seeing what happens. And that doesn't mean you have to do it every week. Some people, we'd say only 3 times a week, the first, you know, little bit. We wouldn't suggest that you tremor longer than 15 minutes, more than 3 times a week when you are first starting. But just a way of practicing it with some regularity, so you can see what comes through.
Right. See if you eventually open.
Yeah.
Okay, can you say something about your opinion, or through your practice, about how the body stores things, stores trauma, stores emotions, unprocessed things,
Toxins.
What do you see? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. As I say, you know, we are years of habits that we've practiced and built, and that goes for any pain, any traumatic experiences, any heartbreaks, anything that's brought us that feeling of discomfort, you know, of upset. If we haven't talked through it, shared it, shook it off, whatever, it's going to be in our nervous system. And I think we're perhaps not all aware of that. Again, I attest this to my mum, for being someone that was always problem shared as a problem halved. So I was very grateful that I grew up with an open communication, to be able to cry and to be able to be okay to talk through things. Not everybody has that.
Totally.
So that can also, when you get to a teenager or to 20s, 30s, 40s, it shows up in how we process emotion. Again, I'm a Pisces, I'm an open book, I'm very transparent. That's part of my, you know, astrological guidance. But when we do get things that we've stored, we've not processed, it can hurt us. And if we're not flushing out the system, be that drinking enough water, being that exercising and moving it through our cells, it just becomes like a layer cake. And it's one thing on top of the other. And this is often why I believe why people then get very explosive, because they are somewhat dysregulated. Whereas if you can have a bad experience and cry and let it go, it's like you're moving through things quite easily. I'm not saying it's easy. It can still be it can still create some discomfort, but you're releasing it with some form of ease. For people that haven't been shown, been able or willing to do that, you fall off your bike, there it goes. You know, you have a heartbreak in a relationship, there it goes. You leave a job, you get fired. You know, all these different things that have happened, our bodies then become like this tight cage.
Right.
And that can also add to, I always say the sickness is in suppression. And I say that from my mum. Bless her. I mean, I lost my mum 24 years ago. There's definitely a story that I look to learn within my mum every day as to what she was going through, that maybe she was very good to give to us, but didn't give to herself.
Right.
And I'm sure for people watching or listening to this, how many of you put yourselves first? I understand if you've got children, if there's partners, parents, whatever, that yes, there's also sometimes a need to give to others, but at what cost?
Right. You can only give from.
And if we've stored everything, like you say, what are we doing? Because at some point, if you've stored everything and you get a big crash, the body will break. So don't let it get to that point, be it TRE or be it a breathwork session or whatever it is that you'll find, because like you say, I've tried them all. That's what got me into TRE. A friend of mine said, hey, I've got something for you to try. You'll try anything.
Yeah. You're like,
what's this?
Yeah.
The dancer in me loved it. Maybe you connect with that because you also had a lot of years dancing, that it was kind of like a routine. I was doing these exercises and there was something tangible at the end that I could walk away with and go,
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I'm brought to the, and maybe I heard this, I'm brought to the habits that animals have.
Yeah.
You know, where they shake it off. Is that where
TRE
sort of, that's where its fundamentals are?
Look at your dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can repeat what I just half said.
Yeah. So again, in training, like, you know, the saber-toothed tiger, is it? Saber-toothed tigers running through the jungle, you know, after its prey, the animal will fall down. And when the tigers run off, the animal plays dead and it will then shake to get out. If a dog's been run over, hope to God I never see my ladybug. But there was also a training video we watched where a polar bear had been, for environmental reasons, caught for good reasons. There was nothing bad. But I think it was tagged, if I'm saying that in the right way. And when it then came around, it shook.
It shook. Yeah.
And it's natural. It's your body's natural way of releasing stress and tension. That's all it is. It's nothing bad. It's just we, unfortunately, and I'm sure again, people, even yourself, you may have been excited at some point in life or a bit nervous, and you get a little, and people will go like, "What's wrong?" And that's the worst thing. We've been conditioned to think, "What's wrong?" You know, you've had a surgery. You know, Richmond in Australia, he talks a lot about birth. Now, I'm not a mum, I've never had children, but on how birthing is the most natural experience that you can have.
Right.
Shake it out.
Right.
You know, why are we trying to contain our bodies to stop things that it naturally wants to do? And often people with a slight tremor, what happens if we lean into that? What happens if we allow it to come through?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about Shane. I've seen actually in a lot of men, they'll do this.
Yeah.
At all times.
Yeah.
And I've always thought of it as like, okay, you're anxious. I see that you're anxious. What's going on? You know what I mean?
And there may be...
Maybe they're...
But maybe on some level he's stored his anxiety, which is not a bad thing.
It wants to move out.
But when he gets to do some TRE, to be able to let that go, eventually, what would it be like for that not to happen?
Right.
Because he's not making it wrong. Right. You know, it's not something that people are judging him for. He can learn to release it and be okay, because it is the body's natural way of letting go. The other thing that I've recently come in to learn TRE, more about TRE with as well, is muscle recovery. So I recently embarked on a new fitness regime at the beginning of the year with Orange Theory, and came home from, I think it was my first or second session. I've always danced, I've done yoga, so I've always been pretty active, but not really done high impact intense workouts. Got out of the shower, and again my body is open with TRE, and I'm standing there and my leg was trembling, and I was like, oh wow, I guess my body wants to release. I jumped on my bed, because you can do TRE pretty much anywhere.
Yeah.
I did a quick 5-minute tremor,
Yeah.
took a few deep breaths, got off and went, And again, I know people that are practicing TRE right now with sports professionals, with sports groups, teams, because you all come off the ice or you come off a field of hockey, whatever. What about if we lie down for 5 minutes before you jump in an ice bath and just let that body discharge? So it's not just tension and trauma in a negative way.
Right.
Be careful how we say that. But what if we're actually just discharging some pent-up tension because we've all been rah, rah, rah.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah.
We get back to feeling grounded.
Contraction of muscles.
Yeah.
A workout is a
Yeah.
stress.
Yeah.
It is.
You're putting stress on the body in order to activate it to build muscle. But at the end of it, let's just relax and do the opposite. Get back into that parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, go about your day.
That your muscles are less sore if you tremor after a workout versus if you don't?
I would say yes. I haven't had many days where my muscles have been really, really tight. And if I've noticed a little bit of tightness, I jump on the floor, lie on the floor, and I will do a little tremor. And you can do them again and again and again. You know, it just doesn't matter. Yeah.
Exciting.
You learn more.
So much.
Yeah, the more we evolve the practice, I think the more we learn about ourselves. And for me and for people like you, we're seekers. So if there's something we can learn that helps us become a better version of ourselves, then I say, go find it.
Yeah, and I'll say, this community, I'm pretty familiar with the energy of this community, and there are a lot of go-getters, a lot of hustlers in the crowd, a lot of work a day job and have a side hustle.
Yeah.
And therefore, a lot of that time that results in a more activated nervous system. So any tools that I can help open you guys all up to, I'm happy to find, and myself, clearly. So how can people work with you?
So I am doing a group workshop for people interested, and I've actually made it 90 minutes long. Just really to allow people to lean into it. So if you've never done TRE and you're curious, it's going to actually happen at the Vitality Biomed Holistic Clinic, where we did the last one. Yeah. And it's going to be on Saturday, April the 26th from 10 till 11:30. Again, you can put the link in the bottom. Wellness by Maney is how you find me, through Instagram, through Facebook, and you can click on my link tree and then sort of read more about it. But yeah, that's going to be the next workshop that I'm doing. And out of that, if you prefer not to do it in a group, which some people do, you can actually click on my link tree and then come and do a series of 4 by yourself. Or if people again want to share it with a partner or a friend or a family member. I do partnership experiences, because sometimes people want to share it, but they might not be ready to do it in a group. I will just say that the group is a maximum of 12 people. Please know this is not sort of like 100 people walking into a big room where you're all going to be opening up things on it, because I think it's important TRE can be an intimate practice. So there is only a maximum of 12 people invited to the class. And yeah, and from there, who knows?
And I have a lot of listeners from the US and so
Oh.
on. So are they able to work with you remotely?
Yes, they are. Unfortunately, the April the 26th is an in-person, but if you are watching this, you can reach out to Angell. And if you are in the US and there's an ability for us actually to put a workshop together online, that's how I was trained.
Yeah.
Because I did this all through COVID. Very fortunate that I had a background in dance, so I'd been teaching dance, so that standing in front of people wasn't a concern for me.
Right.
Teaching online was something I'd never done. Oh my gosh, how do I walk people through the whole template and look at people through a lens and actually see what people are doing. So yeah, I can do a small group session. Again, online, I like to keep it even smaller. So I would only say probably 6 to 8 people. There's nothing advertised as yet. But again, if anybody is interested, you can just send a quick note to yourself, put a comment in the YouTube, thumbs up if you need more. I mean, I'm here like you. We're here to serve. We know that's part of what we were put on this earth to do. And that is the beauty of TRE. It doesn't have to just be done in person.
Right. And folks could do a one-on-one with you.
Absolutely.
Probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We don't want to say no. We want to, again, make it accessible, attainable, and affordable.
Yeah. I think everyone's going to be excited. So I just want them to know all the ways.
Yeah. Or fly me to the US and then get a small group in the US and bring me in. We're asking for change. You never know. Angel, you want to come to? Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to close with, with your rich life experience so far and the change that you're making in people's lives and in your own life. Is there anything last that you would like to share with the community?
No, just tingles. I don't think we're meant to do this personal development and self-work by ourselves. I think it can be daunting. I think sometimes it can take courage. Again, we've talked enough about that safe space today. I know I wouldn't be where I am today without my great life coach and good friend to help me just talk through some things and the practices of TRE. Richmond Heath, again, is one of the people I hold close to my heart. And other practices I've done, I couldn't have done that by myself. So I encourage anybody to reach out to me if it's something I can help you with, be it TRE, be it just helping with some new perceptions. As I say, I still am learning every day, as are you, for people to reach out to Angel. And maybe it's something we can do as a group. Maybe we can do a TRE session and then you can do some meditation at the end. I don't like to say I only do this, because I think we are multifaceted, some of us. And if people need us, we'll show up and we'll find a way to give people what they want. And that's one of the things I believe I'm here to do. So, yeah.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to know you and have met you.
Likewise.
And experience your magic. And thank you for coming on today.
Thank you.
I'll see you in that class at the end of the week.
You will. And I look forward to hearing from any of your watchers or listeners. And yeah, seeing what magic we can all create together. Have a great day. Shake it off. It's good enough for Taylor Swift. It's good enough for us.
Totally.
Okay.
Thanks, Spirit Club. Till next time.
Bye.